Well, what's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate you guys being part of cooking and tailgating with Joe Boo. And today we're going to try something totally different than what we've been doing. I'm actually using some of my Mevo cameras from downstairs in my man cave, and we actually now have, and we're going to see how this works. It may not work as well as I'd like, but we actually have multiple cameras here, and this is actually our second camera, of course, with the boiling right into the camera probably is not the best thing. So let's try and see if we can move it down some and see if that helps some. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right, so that's a little bit better. So we now have our exclusive cooking cam. And what we're going to do, because this is Super Bowl Sunday, we're actually going to make some meatballs. We're going to have meatballs, of course, and meatball subs, but I'm on keto diet, so I'm going to keep the meatballs separate. So people, they want to have a meatball sub, they can have a meatball sub. But I'm going to make a good keto-friendly sauce. And taking a note from my mother, who she cans all of her tomatoes. You see that? She ends up scalding the tomatoes so that way she can take the skin off of it, and then she puts them in the jars, a little spoon of salt, and then she cans it. I'm going to use 1 can of that, but I also got a whole bunch of these plum tomatoes, and I'm going to scald these, and I'm going to make some fresh sauce. And I'm going to put some in the freezer. I'll use some today because I'll use some of this when I do my keto lasagna. I'll do some of this when I do the portobello mushrooms and things. And so what we're just going to do is we're just going to basically take this boiling water that we have right here. You see the boiling pot, if I can get the camera on here. We're going to put the tomatoes in and we're going to scald them, which means we're just going to kind of burn them for a moment. And we're going to take those out after they start. They're going to need to boil a little bit more. We're going to take these out. You see that they've kind of killed the water. We'll put the lid on here. We'll get it back to a boil again. What's going to happen is this will cook the outside of the tomato, and we'll take that, we'll put it in a bowl with some ice water in there. It'll cool it down to stop the cooking process. But what it'll do is it'll make that skin come off of there. Now, another way you can do this too, if you want to have smoked salsa. I've done this before. I've taken the tomatoes and I put them out in my smoker, and you end up taking those along with some peppers, put them in the smoker. You do that for about an hour. The same thing, the skin will peel off, and then you go ahead and use that. It is fantastic. And if you're looking now, you can see how that tomato is split. That one's just about ready. Some of these have been a little longer than the other ones, but we're going to leave this in here for just another minute. And we're just going to take the whole, it's like a colander. We'll be able to take this whole thing out, and we'll be able to just go ahead and drain it right here and then put them in there and then get it boiling again for some others. All right, so while that's doing its thing, the other thing that I do in my sauce is I like, it's not just a straight marinara sauce. I actually like to have a lot of different veggies and things in here. And what we're going to do, I actually have a third camera that I'm going to be using in here too, but the battery needs to charge up. I'm going to have actually a camera right here so you can see the cutting board and see what we're actually cutting. But you see I've got some good old garlic here, and I think that's beginning to boil, so I can take those out. And I'm going to keep doing this to the tomatoes until I get them all done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some garlic, and I'm going to actually cook this down in my frying pan over here. And you see, yeah, those are scalded. That's good. That's exactly what we want with these. Let's see if we can get our tongs here. You can see how the skin is coming off? That's what we want. I'm actually just going to pull these out like this. Some of these are, when it was boiling really good, are in better shape than others to be. See, like you need a little more time. You're good. So one of the things I like to try and do is, when I cook, if I can cook and make a couple of meals out of one cooking, then that saves me time. My life is very, very busy, and the more stuff that I can do at one time, the better. All right, so let's get the rest of these tomatoes in here as well. The other ones, we're going to go ahead and put some cold water and some ice on them. We'll get these boiling too, and we'll do the same thing. Oh boy, I actually can't wait to get the sink cam for you guys, so that way I have the camera over here so you can see the other stuff that's going on. But I'm going to just go ahead and rinse these real quick with some cold water, and then I'm going to add the ice. Put the ice and some more of the cold water on there, and that's good. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this bad boy right here. Now, I don't mind seeds. Maybe you don't like seeds. I'm okay with seeds. But what we're trying to do is, we've got this tomato. Look at this. This tomato right here, that's what we want. We got the skin off of it real good. If you want to, you can cut it open, and you can try and pull out the seeds. See, here's the seed content in there. There's not really that many seeds. If you don't like seeds, you can do that. And if you want to take out the core, you can take out the core. But we're going to put this in our food processor. Be a great sauce. This is better, of course, in the summertime, because in the summertime I'll grow my own tomatoes as opposed to these cardboard ones we have now, which is part of the reason why I'm using some of my mom's tomatoes. Quite frankly, I could have just used a couple of jars of my mother's tomatoes, and this would have been great as it is, but I need to go by her mama's house and get some more of them because I'm out. Okay. All right, that's the rest of them. I'll put it out the way. Oh yeah. You see those? They look good. They look good. So I'm going to go ahead and put those right in here. Rinse those off, and I'll add those. And so we're going to go ahead and use that same pot right there. We're going to use that same pot for our sauce. So I'm going to turn that off at the moment. Get rid of the water. And I'm going to put some olive oil. I'm going to put some olive oil in here. Let it get hot. Put that olive oil right there. And then I'm going to add my garlic to that. And you can see, it's getting hot in here. Saute that garlic. Yeah, baby. And then I'm going to cut up an onion and add that as well, because I like my onions. Now, I'll get better with the cameras here, so bear with me. You know, this is broke-ass media, so to speak. You can see the garlic here. Turn that down a little bit. And get the onions in here before that burns. I try and cut the onions a little bit smaller. This is going to be a lot more fun when we do the live cooking. Oh, this is going to be fun. Get those onions in there. And then we're going to take our sauce and we're going to grind that. Okay, getting behind here. We need to get these tomatoes working before we get that burning. We don't want that to be burning. That's our garlic cooking, my dear. Smells divine, she said? Oh, okay. I thought she was ready to say, what's that thing that stinks? Okay, so. All right, so you see we got some of our tomatoes here, and I'm going to put this in the Ninja. I'm not sponsored by Ninja, by the way, but if you guys would like to sponsor me, email me at cowboysmark94@gmail.com. All right, we pulverized that. Looks like a shake. Not a whole lot of color up in there. Not a lot of color at all. And this is where the tomato is going to come in handy. The tomato paste that we're going to add to that. So we got a little bit of that in there. We're going to let that get hot. And we're going to take some of my mama's tomatoes. And this is where I like using her tomatoes because look at that color. That's the way tomatoes are supposed to look. And this is chunky. And we love chunky here. Drain the extra water off of it. Boom. Now, her tomatoes are nice and soft. And so when you go through with her tomatoes, you can just take the spatula here and break it up. And then we're going to get this good and hot again. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with the tomatoes. Do that hurry, as they call it. You can see where my mama's tomatoes is giving it some more color again. How's it look, guys? Man, this is a first time here trying this way with pureeing the tomatoes. Good thing about doing it this way is we know there's no sugar that's been added, there's no preservatives, no chemicals, nothing but the tomatoes and the seasonings that we're going to put in there. So that's going to make it hopefully that much better. I do not know how my mom, who's in her 80s, literally will do about 150 quarts of tomatoes. Let me say, shout out to you, Mom, because I don't know how you do it. Okay, got the machine here again. You can see how it's kind of saucy. The color doesn't look great, but that's because we don't have any food coloring in it. Okay, there we go. Let's add some more. There we go. Now that's looking saucy. Nice and saucy. Okay, it's beginning to look a little red. Happy about that. Now the other thing I'm going to do, and this is just me, and what I like to do. I'm going to take some mushrooms and put those in there, and I'm going to grind it up as well because I like the extra flavor that I'm going to get from the mushrooms. And while I was at the store, my man David is going to make some chimichurri sauce. And so I got myself some extra herbs. So I'm going to go ahead and try and make my life easy. And I'm going to put in some fresh basil in here to kind of grind it up real good. And fresh oregano and parsley. Look at those leaves. Oh, that looks so good. So this will save me a little bit of chopping. Now I will chop some more of this stuff, so that way I'll have it green on the top. But this will give me some of the freshness. In fact, it looks like David Wiley is here now. So there's some parsley with that too. David, of course, he is a chef. I just play one here at work. So now it'll be comic hour. Okay, so I got all these together, and I'm going to go through. I'm going to grind it up, and we're going to add that to it too. I need a little more liquid in it.
How are you?
It's just hitting the spices. I need more liquid, so I'm going to take a little more of the sauce. This is the cool thing about what we do here is, oh, look at that sauce. We do this stuff on the fly. This isn't a production. This isn't a production show here. This is me making my mistakes as I go along. And now, we're going to go ahead and put a little extra sauce. There we go. Looks like a tomato pesto, but I'm going to add that to it. And we're going to find out how well this all works. Let's take a look and see. You can see in there, there's my spices and things. Okay. And now we've got a green sauce. That's crazy. And we're going to have the chef say, what the hell's going on around here?
Hey man, I'm just here, watching.
So I put some tomato paste in here, and we're going to see if that helps our situation here to start getting red. Look, he's shaking his head already. The chef is shaking his head, and you can see
okay.
we are making a fresh tomato sauce that at the moment is green.
Oh, you use tomato concaves? You use tomato concaves with that drink?
No, I ended up using plum tomatoes, and I ended up that is a very strange looking tomato sauce, if I do say myself. And I think it's mainly because I ended up doing the spices in there with it. This might not be so good after all. Okay, I may put one more thing of tomato paste in there, but it's saucy. It's definitely the right color. Put some garlic salt in it and see what it tastes like. My chef is here looking like, I don't know about that shit.
No, just look at that.
Okay. It's definitely a different color. Now, one thing you do have to understand about cooking, when you cook at home versus the way they try to make everything look perfect when you're buying it. You're never going to see any tomatoes that don't look quite right. You're not going to see, everything's going to have the right color combination. So this is, of of course, with lots of spices. The spices definitely needs more salt, but it's not bad. I need pepper. They're going to make it so that way it looks perfect. And sometimes that stuff's not natural. Like, for example, the farm-raised salmon. That shit ain't right. It isn't normal. They add actually color to it. Okay. Instead of sticking that same spoon in there, let me try a little taste.
Oh, and that's skewers.
Yes, the skewers. I think it's sitting right over there. So let's show you our sauce. There's what it looks like. Grab a spoon. Tell me what you think, chef. Forget the color. That is definitely keto tomato sauce. What? Oh. Huh?
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. It's just the color, it's not red. So there's no dye in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably end up putting in one more thing of tomato paste. And some of this, as it cooks down, will probably end up getting a little redder. Because the problem will be is somebody will see that color and they'll be like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. What's wrong with your tomato sauce? But when you look at the color of the tomatoes, which these are not as ripe as you would like, what?
Pretty tasty.
Pretty tasty? Okay, well, it's got to cook down some. So that's what we've done with our tomato sauce. You can take another look at it here. And this is our first use of our exclusive cooking can. And I'm going to get out the way because my main man here, he's actually doing the real cooking today. He's here to put me to shame. And he's actually made pork chops. Excuse me, not pork chops. He's made, I'll let you describe it because I'm just messing up even describing.
I got some pork kebabs.
Pork kebab.
Apple and onion pork kebabs.
All right, we got that. We're going to have meatballs. I'm going to put the meatballs in the marinara sauce. Some of this I'm going to put in the freezer so that way I can use it later on.
I'll try some of that smoked cheese today.
And I got to go pick up some sub rolls for those who are eating subs. Over here, what do you think over there? It's now been...
Yeah.
We've got the sub rolls over here for making an Italian sub for everybody else. I'm going to have some. I'm just going to pull the bread off of it. So that's what we got, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This is my tomato sauce. And later on, we'll have this on my meatballs. We'll see if anybody likes it. Peace. Okay, so before I go on this, I want to actually show you, I ended up putting one more can of tomato paste in there because the color on there did not look, you know, like most people look at it and say, what the hell is that? But I want to show you what it actually looks like. So this is our tomato sauce. You can see the rich, deep color in there. That's because of the my mama's tomatoes and all the spices that we parade up in there. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some fresh herbs and I'm going to put those on top of it and chop it up. But that's, look at that. That's going to be great sauce. When I do for the meatballs, I'm going to end up sauteing some onions and some peppers to go with it and put some of the sauce on it with the meatballs so you just have a plate of goodness there. So that's what we have. We'll use some of the same sauce when we do our pizzas. Or we're going to do a portobello mushroom pizza. We'll put some sausage and pepperoni and onions and peppers and everything else and do kind of like a pan pizza but with a mushroom. And so this sauce will be great for just about everything. Appreciate you guys. See you later.